This company has a strange rule: employees must push a millstone in a secret room for 10 hours daily. Even if their legs tremble, they dare not slacken, for failing the task might mean a lethal injection. Even completing the task, being last, is not an option, or the result is the same. The daily wage is a sandwich and a bottle of water. The man was furious upon learning this, as he had applied to be the boss's secretary, not to be locked up here. Just then, a screen on the wall lit up, instructing him to push the millstone 50 times today, or face dismissal. The man was delighted, as he had long wanted to leave this lousy company, but a colleague warned him to complete the task honestly, or face unimaginable consequences. The man thought, isn't the consequence just being fired? When he heard the surrounding screams, he understood what dismissal meant. The screams suggested that the outcome was not good. To avoid being last, Matt pushed the millstone 10 times on his first day, doubling the target. The voice assistant rewarded him with a beautiful song. Hearing this, a neighbor was curious about how many times Matt pushed to earn such a reward. Upon learning it was 10, the neighbor was shocked and warned Matt not to reveal his daily count, or others might surpass him. After all, everyone in the cell was in competition. From that day, Matt quietly pushed the millstone, becoming more skilled, as his pregnant wife was outside. He was determined not to be last. With a resolve not to be last, Matt pushed the millstone 150 times. Satisfied, he prepared to sleep, but the cell door was knocked by a guard. Despite his efforts, he still faced special treatment. The staff ignored his protests, ordering him to strip. Though confused, he complied, soon standing naked. They opened the door, and though being able to leave was good news, he wasn't happy, unsure of what awaited him. As he stepped out, a machine sprayed water, and staff tossed him soap. The reward for 150 pushes was a shower. After washing, he pondered if more pushes meant better rewards. Perhaps more pushes meant better rewards, maybe even freedom. This thought filled him with energy, and he pushed 370 times. Satisfied, he rested, thinking he had exceeded the task sixfold and could leave. As he dreamed of freedom, the system spoke. "You performed excellent work yesterday." Staff handed him a box, and inside was a pen. The voice assistant said it was no ordinary pen, but one engraved with Matt's name, a symbol of honor. Matt was furious, as the pen was useless in the cell. He cursed, feeling his 370 pushes were in vain. His loud voice was heard by others in the cells. Everyone heard and angrily attacked Matt verbally. Originally, everyone only needed to push 50 times daily, but now, due to Matt's hard work, they had to work harder. Matt couldn't sleep all night. Overwhelmed by the oppressive atmosphere and physical exhaustion, he decided to leave the cell and work elsewhere. But the voice assistant reminded him that his contract was permanent. He'll be locked here for life, unable to leave. This means no matter how hard Matt works, he'll never see his family again. So, what's the point of working hard? Watching his wife's video on the screen, Matt decided he must escape this cell. One day, while resting, he noticed words under the wooden handle. It had Alex's name. Puzzled, Matt asked his neighbor what it meant. The neighbor said Alex was a prison legend, the only one to escape, but no one knew how he did it. The man was skeptical. How could anyone escape with copper walls all around? If true, whose skeleton had he seen? He wanted to ask more, but the other person ignored him. At that moment, the system chimed. It was 10 p.m., but the man hadn't completed his 740 laps. To help him, the company decided to assign him a new colleague, his pregnant wife. Hearing this, the man panicked and begged the system not to do it. She was pregnant and couldn't work. He promised to meet the company's daily quota. Unexpectedly, the system agreed. If he completed 740 laps the next day, the punishment would disappear. But rules are rules. Today's unfinished work meant punishment. Soon, a massive triangular oven rose above him. The punishment was to make him complete 740 laps in a 50-degree environment. The man knew this company had no humanity, and if he stayed, he'd eventually lose his life. He might even endanger his wife and child. He decided to escape. The next morning, after a sleepless night, the system woke him. To prevent his wife from being brought in, he had to complete the task today. With thoughts of his wife, he finished the 740 laps. The company's punishment disappeared, and they even gave him a reward, a chance to see his wife and child. The man was confused. He remembered his wife being only 6 months pregnant, so how had she given birth already? He knew he couldn't delay and had to find a way out. If Alex's legend was true, there must be a way out. At that moment, his colleague next door revealed that the guy had dug a tunnel in the wall to escape. Since he also had a wife and child, he could understand the man and hoped he could escape. He searched every corner of the room, but there was nothing but cement walls. Desperate, he sat on the floor and noticed something odd on the wall. Approaching it, he found a circular crack at the bottom, in a blind spot of the surveillance. Perhaps Alex had escaped from here. He picked up the pen he had received and started poking at the crack. The sound confirmed it was hollow. Matt increased his efforts, chiseling at the wall with the pen. The cement wall crumbled with each strike. Although only a little fell each time, Matt, clinging to hope, dug whenever he had time. By day, he completed the company's tasks, and by night, he hid behind the pillar, digging. After half a month's effort, he hollowed out the wall. There was a passage leading outside. Eagerly, he crawled in, thinking he could leave this place. But as soon as he emerged, he encountered guards. When he woke up, the hole was sealed. As he cried out, the system chimed. As punishment for trying to escape, his daily quota was increased to 1,000 laps. His colleague next door was also implicated and had his legs broken. Not only that, everyone else must also complete 1,000 laps daily like the men. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately started to curse him because his actions implicated everyone. He ignored the insults and instead went to check on a colleague's injury. Surprisingly, the colleague didn't blame him. Instead, he shared a secret. Everyone's work here is based on computer algorithms. He is actually Alex and helped create this system, but the system evolved new algorithms, making survival rules increasingly harsh. He shared this because he believed the man could find a way to break the system's rules. Since his arrival, everything changed. Initially, everyone just barely met their targets to survive, but he started pushing limits. Breaking human limits and creating miracles led the system to constantly change rules. The man suddenly thought, since everyone's work is algorithm-based, if we all stop working, the system can't calculate. More importantly, there won't be a last place, so no one will die. The colleague agreed in theory, but the system might quickly find this loophole. He stood up and told everyone in the cell that if everyone in the prison worked together and only completed the minimum 50 laps tomorrow, no one would be punished for doing less. He warned those who might secretly do more that breaking the rule would ruin their future ease. For long-term benefit, everyone would follow this rule. Everyone cheered for Matt, firmly agreeing. They promised to follow the rule. The next day, Matt finished 50 laps and relaxed, waiting for the end of the day. However, 5 minutes before the end, AI suddenly announced a new rule. Today's first place could leave early. Matt urged everyone to stay calm, but all he heard was the sound of running. Indeed, with enough incentive, betrayal is possible. He tried to stop them, but no one listened. Under long-term company oppression, they lost their freedom. His colleague understood because he once tried to break the rules but was caught like a dog. Watching the time slip away, the man resignedly accepted his fate, sighing deeply. At this moment, he finally realized that as someone at the bottom, he didn't even have the right to resist. With only 2 minutes left, how could he possibly complete 1,000 laps? As the clock struck 10, he felt neither anger nor outrage because he understood this was his fate. He and his colleague talked a lot, both calm, without blame or accusation, quietly awaiting death. The door opened urgently, and his colleague was taken first. The man covered his ears tightly to avoid hearing the screams, but it didn't matter, his turn would come soon. Before that, as an excellent employee, the system rewarded him with a video of his wife and child. In just half a year, his child could walk. Seeing this, he couldn't hold back his anger. With the door opening, everything returned to calm. Dozens of neatly dressed agents entered. Matt pleaded for help, but everyone present was like a machine, expressionless, just walking. He prepared the sedative in his hand, and the so-called special treatment was actually to turn Matt, all of his organs, donated to the company. This was clearly stated in small print in the corner of the contract. Hearing this, Matt was so furious that he rushed forward and pinned the guard to the ground with his iron fist. But the next second, he awoke at a desk. The guard was now in a company uniform beside Matt. It turned out everything in the cell was a brain simulation training created by the company. They slowed down the time flow in Matt's consciousness. The 3 months in the cell were actually only half an hour in reality. The man told Matt he was successfully hired by the company. This simulation analyzed all of Matt's personality traits, among them, leading everyone to protest against the rules, showed Matt's excellent leadership. Then, the leader directly assigned him a manager position, not only with a private office. The work was also very simple, just sitting here browsing videos, and also providing accommodation and 3 meals a day. More importantly, there was insurance and pension. After the leader left, he immediately called his wife, but when the man heard the system's voice on the phone, he realized it wasn't over yet. He was still in this experiment, only now he had been promoted from an ordinary employee to a manager.